This is Weekly Woman by Jubilance for PMS. Hi, everyone. It's Alice Cash. Welcome and thank you so much for listening today. As you know, it's May, and May is the month for mothers because Mother's Day is happening. So I thought it was only fitting that I joined my own mother on this podcast today. And I'm talking to her about her life, about raising 3 girls, which is crazy, and her founding of Jubilance. So I'm so excited to get to talk to her today. So, hi, Mom.
Hi, Alice. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here. Okay, you're a mom of 3 girls, one of whom is me, who is your favorite, of course. What was it like having 3 girls?
Well, I still have 3 girls, but definitely it's been a lot of fun. It's very dramatic. There's always something going on. All 3 of you are very creative and adventurous. And so sometimes it can be tiring because I'm trying to keep up with you, but it's been a joy.
What's your favorite experience you've had with us?
Well, I mean, first of all, your birth, because we definitely, we didn't know, I know it sounds crazy, but we didn't find out ahead of time, even though I had like ultrasounds and they could tell you the birth of your child or the sex of your child, but your dad and I waited until you were born and found out, healthy baby and a girl. So, which was perfect. And then by the time we got to Gretchen, the 3rd one, it was just like, yay. It was a relief to know that she was a girl because I already knew what to do. We already had everything. And then I think it's just like those little moments of everything that you do, like your first steps, and then of course that first step across, the stage for high school diploma or your college, or watching you direct a play, or your sisters play volleyball or soccer. Just everything was, it's just been fun. I can't really say that anything would be like that one moment because those moments are still going on right now. It's just like, it's all fun. Just watching you grow as a woman.
That's very Okay, and so what are you up to this week for Mother's Day?
Oh, I don't know. Probably we'll go on a bike ride. Your dad, as you know, Alan and I always ride bikes every weekend. We've always ridden bikes since we dated, and it's just a fun way for us to get out and explore. And so it was perfect during the pandemic too, a perfect way to social distance. And we're not like, we like flat rides. We like riding around neighborhoods, looking at houses and flowers. I like looking at gardens. So just probably easy.
Yeah, and you've been hiking a lot in quarantine. Can you talk a little bit about your pandemic experience? What have you been up to in it?
Well, first of all, it started with you. You were in the epicenter in New York City, as well as your younger sister Gretchen, and so of course you became very ill. So that kind of set the stage as far as it was just overwhelming to learn that you were so sick and not be able to go to you and help you. So I think because of that, we're all really careful. And because Gretchen came then and flew home from New York City, and she actually hasn't even been back to work. So, she works, but she works from here in San Diego, and her office has been closed since March last year, 2020. So, that's hard for a 24-year-old woman to, be living at home with her parents who socially distant. I know a lot of you out there too, our listeners are the same, that that was a tough year. So, but what did I do during the pandemic? I did hang out with our daughters. So Gretchen was here, and then Samantha, our middle daughter, came home. She played volleyball in Europe. And she's a professional ball player. And so she came home, but then she left again, and Switzerland opened back up. So, and now she's back again. So her life kind of just went on while we just still seem like stay here. So Gretchen and I and you, Alice, came here for a little while. We made candles. I've made soap, which was a disaster.
Our soap was so gross. It was like black.
Yeah, we're not good at it. And even though I keep trying, I'm a soap failure. I pressed flowers. I made a victory garden. I fertilized my garden. I pruned my roses. I fertilized my roses. I planted a lot of seeds, and just mostly tried to be outside. And we're fortunate because we live in San Diego, so we can be outside about 90% of the time. So that was good. And on top of it, even with all the bad of the pandemic, and I was able to be around all of you as adults, and it was fun because your dad and I got to spend a lot of time with each of you, and you came home for a little while, and having 3 adult daughters in the house, it was a little dramatic, but it was a lot of fun. And who gets to do that when you're our age, having your adult daughters move or adult children move back home for a little while? I mean, that was a blessing in disguise.
That's very nice. I'm glad you think of it like that.
Yeah, I mean, because all the people, there's so much going on with COVID, and we were very lucky though that we could all be together, and I think it helped to be able to be together and do all these projects together. Make soap.
Yeah.
Who would believe me if I told them that my soap turned black? At least you were witness to it. It was terrible.
Yeah, it really was. But what's not terrible are your roses. My mom is a rosarian. Can you explain what that is and what?
Well, basically, it just means that I have a fondness for roses and like to grow them. So, so I actually got into the roses when this is a good question. When Gretchen went away to college, and I was an empty nester, and we were just starting Jubilance, and I was sad, and trying to fill my time with work, and then we went to the state fair, Alan and I, and there was we always like to go to the rose show. And so we were looking at all the flowers, and there was a man there that was soliciting memberships. And so we said, my husband said, Kathy, you should join this. And it was like $5 to join the San Diego Rose Society. So I joined, and I went to the meeting, and they had speakers that talk about how to grow your roses or how to grow dirt. And since I was a new member, I had to stand up and introduce myself. And they said, well, how many roses do you have? And I think I had like 3 bushes. And I found out that people there have hundreds of flowers. Like one woman has 800 rose bushes, and they know the names to all their roses. But the interesting thing is that they're all really very kind. And I would even suggest to your listeners that if you can get into a garden group or through Facebook, or through your local parks and rec department or something, there's so many people that do gardening, and they're usually very nice because they love to share their knowledge, and they love to share their bounty, so so anyway, and there's all different types of roses. So the ones you grow in your backyard are different than the ones you can buy in a store or have delivered to your table or your desk. So it's just fun.
What are some of the names of the roses? That's been really fun. I like to make up names because my mom will say, what is this rose? And then I'll make up the name of the rose, like snake's root on a rooftop.
Okay, so good question, Alice. So I have definitely gone from my 3 rose bushes in the last 3 years, and Alan gave me some roses and that I put in the ground, and I learned from my Rose Society that you put little signs next to your roses so you can remember what they are. And I do quiz when I make a cutting to bouquet, I will quiz each of my daughters and my husband as to what the names of the roses are, but it helps me to remember too. So But let's see, I've got Neil Diamond, I've got Charlotte, I've got Barbara Streisand, Passion, Falling in Love. Those are pink. I like pink. And one of them I got for free, because either maybe someone was moving. It's because I joined this Rose Society, and they put out a post and said, I'm moving if you want to come dig up my roses. And so I got Secret because I went to dig it up. And so that's why I said, if you can join a group and find people they're willing to share, you don't have to buy them all.
I think my favorite ones that you have are mustard. What is it?
Ketchup and mustard.
Yes.
So that one is
yellow.
Red and yellow.
Or the one that's like butter. And what's
that's
that?
Julia Child. And it's a light yellow, just like butter.
Yeah. So I think that's so funny. And so I like to make up the names like Tangerine in the Moonlight. Or
that one is Brandy.
Brandy. Yeah. I think one of my favorite like stories that you have that you would like tell us when we went to bed was the one about your time in the Girl Scouts. Can you share that story, Mom?
Which story?
The one about the snake.
I knew you were going to ask that one. Okay, so it was 1980. So and I think I worked on Waterfront at this Girl Scout camp, and it was for, I think, 58 days straight. So imagine a summer. It's an entire summer living in a camp. It was over 100 degrees. So it's super hot. So at night, but what would happen is that snakes would come down to cool off on the rocks, or they get into the latrines where the girls have to go to the bathroom, or on the path walking to the latrines. So the ranger for our camp and our camp director suggested that the waterfront, because we lived in a separate location by the pool and tents, and we didn't have a responsibility of campers, that we would go out at night and hunt for the snakes in the campgrounds to keep them away from the children, the campers. So I don't know why, but it's 100 degrees plus, a tent. There's nothing else to do at night. So we took this as a badge, of honor, and we made snake sticks, which were limbs from the trees, and then so we cut them at the bottom, so it was a long limb, and then you had like the fork, right, where the branch came together, two branches came together, cut it there, and then I peeled off the bark, and then you could pin the snake. It was a copperhead. I don't know if I said the copperhead.
Yeah, with the
yeah. So that's why we had to get rid of them. I don't know what they do with them now. That's, they may not hunt snakes anymore. I don't know. But anyway, excuse me. But anyway, so you pin the snake behind the head. But I never chopped off a head. I just pinned them. But I was like the #1 pinner for the snake pinner for the Girl Scout camp in that summer.
Oh, the story just makes
is still on the wall somewhere for the most pins. Like I have no idea how many. But interesting fact is that we would take the girls that worked in the kitchen, they were like 14, 15 years old, with us, and they would carry the bucket and the axe. So they had to do the dirty work. And then the snakes would go back to the kitchen. There's, dead snakes, and then the cook, supposedly, she pinned them and would put the skin out on a box and pin it so it could dry in the sun, and then you could put the skin around your hat. Well, the rumor was, don't eat the meat. That's because you don't know if you're getting snake or not, since the cook was in charge of all of that.
I love that story. It's just so absurd.
It is. And I mean, I was 20, so would I do that now? No.
Yeah, would you make a 14-year-old child?
The way to tell a poisonous snake is the poisonous snakes have have a triangle type head. So if you look for a poisonous snake, whereas like the good garden snakes for your garden are just long and thin, just all one length. So for the summer, if it gets really hot and you see a snake.
Terrifying. Can you tell me what's bringing you joy? What brings you joy?
Well, of course, you, Alice, and I, all of you girls, my daughters and my husband, and of course my whole family, especially during the pandemic. All friends. I read a lot of friends, and on a business side, Jubilance, because we are definitely making a difference in so many women's lives. So I enjoy that I get emails, especially when I open them in the morning. Some aren't happy. It doesn't work for everybody, but so we do read a lot that are like happy. So in the professional side, it's good to know that you're making a difference in people's lives as well. So I guess work and my family, that's what brings me joy.
Great. Can you tell me a story about your favorite travel experience?
Ooh, I have been very lucky to travel a lot of different places. So it's hard. I think it's kind of like my flowers. It's hard to say which one is my exact favorite because they're all different and they're all different in each point in your life. I would say a couple of them, if I can. Kyoto. I traveled there with your dad because he was working in Tokyo, and I got to go and tag along as on a business trip. And then we went to Kyoto and on a train, and it was just really special because I think I was probably in my 40s and you girls were young. And so it was like one of the first times we got away without you all since you were little. And my mom came to stay with you. And it's just a really magical place. We rode bicycles along the path of philosophy, which is where all the temples are. And it was just, like getting lost on this like magical place that's not like anywhere else I'd ever been in the world, and with my husband. So it was really special. And then probably a family trip would be Machu Picchu, because I never dreamed in my life that I would go there, first of all. And then we hiked the Inca Trail, and it's just incredible. And the beauty of that land, the people, they're just so nice. And I cried when we made it through the Sun Gate, which is where you crawl. I basically crawled up the steps. Everyone else, I think, could walk it. But by that time, I was like crawling. The steps, as I recall, were really, really steep. And we got to the very top, and then you go through this gate and you can see Machu Picchu. So I remember that I cried there. It was very magical.
It was magical. That was just amazing.
We don't go on vacations to really rest. I think we go for adventure.
Yeah, which I like. You've had so many different jobs. Can you tell me about the craziest one you've had?
Oh gosh.
Maybe a snake pinner, but
yeah, that wasn't really a job. That was just volunteering. That was philanthropy. Let's see. I have worked a lot of crazy jobs. Like I started working when I was 14, like washing dishes at my church. But that wouldn't be the craziest. That was a good way to get extra desserts. And I worked at like at the mall when I was a teenager. So that's a perfect job, just like all the teen movies, everybody wants to work in a mall. But I think that probably the funniest job I ever had was that same summer, 1980, when I worked at the Girl Scout camp. I didn't really make very much money at the camp, but it was fun and a good way to get a tan before I went back to college. So when I came back, I needed to make more money. So I had about 4 weeks before school started back up. And so I had arranged to continue to lifeguard, work at a grocery store, and then I waitress. I had 3 different jobs going on. And the waitressing job was at a smorgasbord. So if anyone has never been a waitress, I encourage you all to do it at least once in your life, because it will change your view on any restaurant, first of all, and how to treat your waiters and wait staff. But anyway, This was a smorgasbord, and on Wednesday nights they had all you can eat crab leg night. So there were people that would come like right when we opened the doors at like 5 o'clock, and they brought their own crackers to break the shell of the crab legs. So we, the wait staff, we called them the crackers. And so you would try to bribe the hostess not to put a cracker in your station, because if you got them, they didn't leave for like hours. They would sit there until almost we closed, eating crab legs because it was all you could eat. So they'd go to the smorgasbord and they'd go through the buffet and they'd get their crab legs and they'd bring them back to the table. And then we had to put a plastic bucket on the table for them to put the shells into. And then we'd have to empty that. So anyway, it's like, if you got a cracker in your station, you didn't get very many tips. So you didn't want to have them. And I still, to this day, do not want to open a crab leg. I like crab meat, but I don't want to see the legs. I don't want to see the shell.
Yeah.
No, that was crazy.
Yeah. And now you have a completely different job now. So you founded Jubilance. This is a family-run business, partially because I had the worst PMS and was like a horrible human when that would happen with my terrible mood swings. But can you talk a little bit about founding Jubilance?
Yeah, so I came to it in a roundabout way. I was in pharmaceutical sales after college, and then Alan started a nutritional supplement business, my husband, and we have had great success, like 5 million doses worldwide with oxaloacetate, and we market it as Benagine, and it's marketed mostly through doctors. And so we went to a lot of conferences, and doctors would come to talk to us. They call us on the phone all the time, placing orders, and they use it for their patients. So for anti-aging and glucose support. So we started to hear from these physicians and the medical community that they were using it for women that had PMS, like that were sad or irritable or anxious, etc. So I heard this, I'd answer the phone and I'd hear them telling me this story, or their nurses telling me the stories. And so having 3 daughters and being a woman and having had PMS growing up and knowing, I said, this is something we need to look into, to my husband. And he's like, yeah. But then he being a father of 3 girls, he really did take it seriously. And so we decided to, put some more word out there to our doctors, find out what they thought about it, get a little more feedback from other physicians that weren't using it. They started using it. And so we decided, okay, let's figure this out. And so we invested in a clinical trial. And we had women that took they call it the gold standard in the business. So it was a double blind, which means that the person that is receiving the product, the test product, they don't know if it's placebo or if it is the actual product. And you might be familiar with this because of the vaccine trials that were done for the COVID vaccines. And some people got placebo and some people got the actual, product. So we did that, and then we crossed it over. So that meant that then they went from if they had the placebo, then they went to the test product. If they had the test product, they went to the placebo product. So it was a crossover. Well, the women and family members that they could figure out that, so we knew it might be a successful trial because I was the customer service rep. So I'd get phone calls, and I didn't know what they were on, but I got phone calls from like a spouse, someone's mother's partner saying, I think she's on the test product and we don't want her to cross over. So, and she might call me and say, I'm going to drop out. But if they drop out, then that would mean because they wanted to stay on the product they were on. And they was like, we want to just buy it. I said, no, you gotta, I don't know what you're on, you need to finish, So anyway, we did get them to complete the trial. And it was back in 2016 too. So I don't know, like if you remember, but that was back when it was the election and it was Hillary and Trump, and no matter what side of the political fence you were on, it was a tough time to be a woman, I think, because there was a lot of like just bantering about women and women voting, et cetera, et cetera. So that we got huge, significant results, and so, or great results. So then we thought, let's do it again. Let's be sure. So we did it again, and the results came back again. And so, yeah, so it's very exciting because, I mean, it did make a huge difference in people's lives, and it's continuing to. So that's why it's an exciting, and that's why it brings me joy. You asked me that question earlier, that I know that, and like I said, it doesn't work for everyone, and 80% of the women it does. So, and for that 20% that it doesn't, I hope you're watching Weekly Woman or reading our Jubilee or blog or something, because, we're still here for you. So,
yeah. And I think that's what's exciting about the company, and why I personally wanted to join it was because it's about helping women and helping others, and like opening the conversation of this taboo of menstruation.
Yeah, like who ever thought this is like what I'd be doing?
Yeah, were we gonna ever talk about this before? In fact, I don't think I've ever asked you, what is your first period story?
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. So yeah, now I work for a period company, so I have to talk about, oh my gosh. Okay, so I am a child of the 60s, and so I think I had my period like when I was 13, so 1973 or 74. My mom never talked to me about it. I mean, never. Think of your grandma. So she gave me a book. It was like a little pamphlet. She said, all the Girl Scouts are reading this. I was like a cadet. So I did Girl Scouts all the way through high school and everything. So anyway, she said, all the Girl Scouts are reading this. I'm like, okay. I looked at it, I was like, gross. I'm not going to read this. I tossed it aside. And then, of course, you get your period, you think you're dying because you have no idea what's going on. And, none of my friends would ever talk about it because, like, no one talked about it, period. You just didn't talk about it. And yeah, so then I told my mom, and she gave me this like huge, like pads. They were, they were like Kotex, and they came in a big purple box, and they're probably like, seemed like 12 inches long and 6 inches high. They're horrible. And you had to put them on with a belt. You had to like string it together. And yeah, it was awful.
That's horrible. Oh my God.
If we go back, like, I don't know why I'm thinking of it, but if we go back to the Girl Scout camp, we actually, these things were so big that we wrapped them around limbs and dipped them in kerosene and used them as a torch for campfires. So bad.
Yeah.
But then they came out with the new products like Stay Free, and you're so lucky now because, I remember Stay Free came out and had like the little adhesive tape, that was a big deal. And then, of course, they did have tampons. I think finally one of my friends told me about tampons, these horrible, huge cardboard applicators. But then, but now, now you have period panties, and you have cups, and you have, organic tampons, and they'll deliver them right to your door, so no one knows. So, it's just like,
and PMS relief. It's crazy. Yeah. And this is just
people
starting to happen.
It's an open subject.
Yeah. Which has really just started to happen as an open subject, because I didn't talk about it when I was growing up, which I'm 30 years old.
I did try to talk to you about it because I didn't want to be like my mom.
Yeah, but I got really stressed and wouldn't want to talk about it. Be like, stop!
But I did try.
Yeah, you did. What is your definition of womanhood?
Ooh, I know you ask this every week, and I should have a really good answer, but I would just say strong. Women are strong. We are strong, and we're strong independently, and we're stronger when we're together. When we all, work together, be friends, and help each other out. It's been a tough year, so, but I think women are strong. So that would be my definition. Stay strong.
That's great. Mom, do you have any tips or tricks for our listeners? Just finishing off.
Well, I would say, first, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to everybody. And, you may not be a mother, but you're a sister, or you obviously have a mother. Or maybe you have an aunt or someone or a neighbor that you care about. Just I think as women that we all just reach out to each other and stay caring and loving to one another. And then shovel prune. And what that means is in my garden, if a plant isn't doing well, and I've tried, get rid of it, throw it away, start over. So that's for the garden. Now in life, you can't really do that, but you can try. I mean, I know it's hard out there, but if you're not happy with your job, maybe you can take a class that would make you happy, that could maybe get you the job you want. Or if you can't change careers, volunteer somewhere or reach out to a neighbor, do something that makes you feel good and that could do good in your community.
Yay. Thank you so much, Mom.
You're welcome. It was fun. Love you.
Love you.